Right. Got my pan on and it's heating. Not at the high and medium heat, so you've got to get used to temperature on your pan, on your hob. So can you see the frying pan there? Can you see the hob? Yeah. Okay. So Korean egg roll. Start off with 3 eggs, and the more used to it, you can go to 3 eggs, 5 eggs, 7 eggs is the aim. But we're going to start with 3 eggs first, and you'll see what I mean. 3 eggs. I'm going to use. I'm not used to cracking eggs with a fork. I'm going to try that. I'm used to doing it on the table. But I'm not throwing them on the floor. There's a bin there. Little bit of a waste. Now you can put anything you want in here. First recipe I did had very finely chopped spring onions and very finely diced carrots. That makes it look colourful if you put carrots in it. I'm using watercress because that's what we had, because we're a restaurant and it's a bit chefy. But we had watercress, which came in today. Could put spinach in it. Anything that's not going to put too much water in your recipe. So if you put tomatoes in it, you might have your omelette a bit watery. You could put ham in it. Anything you want. That's probably quite a lot. I'm going to move that out of the way. I think that's probably enough. You only want a couple of tablespoons. You don't want as much as you might think. Whisk that a bit because you want the egg to break down a bit. Put that in. It's sticking to my fingers. It's very hot in here. And I always have salt in a little pot so I can see how much I'm putting in. If it's in a shaker, you can't always tell how much is going in. So if you have it in a pot, you can see exactly how much you put in. So we just want maybe half a teaspoon. Give that a whisk. Do this one, so I'm going to use it. There, right. Can you see the pan? So again, I have my oil in a pot, so if I'm pouring it in, I can't tell how much I'm using, but that's fine. If you're going to pour it out of a bottle, just pour it onto a spoon first. And then I know exactly how much I've put in the pan. So that pan should be hot, not too hot. Move that around. Okay, right. This worked before. 2/3 of it, not all of it, just 2/3 of it. And then move it around. I'm just going to wait until it sets. So this recipe should show you how eggs set things. So eggs do 2 things. They set things and thicken things, or they make things rise. This is setting. So can you see, Sally, it's kind of half cooked. So now we are going to start rolling it.
Joe?
And then you want to bring it back to this end of the pan and then you want to put the rest of the egg in so it joins up with the one that you've put in.
Joe,
And then you
tilt it.
now sets.
Joe, can you tilt it? Is it
Not with
tilt it? No.
You could spotlight the other video, though, Emma.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Where are you? That one
so
there.
we've got
Oh,
and what you don't want it to cook too much, because if it cooks too much, yes, you can see it now. So this egg here is still all raw, but this is the cooked egg that I've rolled over. And you see when I poured the egg in, it joined up.
oh, what have I done? Unmute me.
That's the first bit there that was cooked, and this is the next bit that I poured in. And what you're getting is you're getting this, in effect, a long piece of egg, which you then start flipping over again. And then you just put that over there. It's going to take a few minutes just, well, a little bit longer to cook. So this is a Korean egg roll, and they, from what I understand, I've never been to Korea, but they quite often have it as a side dish, but it's really good cold. You can have it in a lunchbox. You put anything you want in it. You could put meat in it if you wanted. You could put other different vegetables in it. This is still a little undercooked. Just going to give it a little bit longer. And then again, and now you're going to see that it's starting to go nice, light golden colour. A little bit long. I turned my pan down. Maybe I should have turned the pan down. That's very good. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad for the first time for cooking something on film. Or too soon. And flip it over again. Flip it over the last time. Just leave it on the flipped over side, and what that will do is that will set the egg so it sticks, so you have a tight roll. And then it's looking nice and golden. And what we're going to put it on. Put it on this plate. Right, I think, let's have a look. Yeah, could have been a bit tighter. I'll let you into a secret, this is only the second time that I've done this. There. So that is a Korean egg roll. I'm going to turn that on. So the trick is, that was with 3 or 4 eggs, and the more eggs that you add, the bigger your roll is. So 7 eggs roll. I'm not ready to do 7 eggs yet. So if it's a bit hot, I'm not going to cut that yet. This is not going to cool down in this heat. Right, we'll leave that. We'll come back to that and we'll cut it in a few minutes. Second recipe, bacon and cheese muffins. So put that there. Different board. So, ones I made earlier, bacon and cheese muffins. This is a really, really easy recipe. So, am I going too fast talking to you now? 2 bowls. Dry ingredients in 1 bowl, wet ingredients in another. Tray ready first. Muffin tray with paper cases. You can oil the inside of your tray, but sometimes it's difficult to get out, and they're just easier. Okay. Dry ingredients. We want 125 grams. This will do 6 of these. 125 grams of self-raising flour. Ooh. And it's difficult to see. Right. It's not very much. Don't need to sieve it. Sometimes for recipes you need to sieve it. You don't need to sieve this. It's fine. So that's self-raising flour, not plain flour, self-raising flour. So that's already got some raising in it. But to give it an extra bit of lift, because you're adding we're adding bacon and cheese, you need to give it just a little bit of help to lift up. So we're only putting half a teaspoon in. So the best way to do that, if you don't have measuring spoons, that's fine. Take a spoon, level it off, and then with the rounded end of your spoon, because I want half a teaspoon, just knock that off, and then you've got half a teaspoon there. Knocked half off, you've got half a teaspoon. Bit of salt in everything, not too much, just to season it. What else do we want? Dry ingredients. Cheese. I grated the cheese before because it was too hot in here. I didn't want to mess about with grating cheese, and it's already weighed out. That's 100 grams of cheese. You can use any cheese. A stronger, mature cheddar is probably better, and flavour will come through. This is quite a melty one because that's what we had. We're just using whatever we've got.
Just had a question. Is that baking powder you just put in before?
It is. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. Baking powder, yes. Cheese. Cooked bacon. You could use bacon, you could use sausage, you could use ham, anything. You could use chicken, it might be a bit dry, but anything. You don't have to put meat in it. You could put corn in it, sweet corn, some tins of sweet corn. And if you did maybe a little bit of chili, or just put the cheese in it, maybe some sun-dried tomatoes and some herbs. This recipe, you can put anything in it and change it any way you want. So I'm going to cut this into a little bit. It's not too small, you don't want it to disappear, you want to know it's in there. Ooh. Put that in there. So that was 4 sort of streaky bacon, you know, not the back bacon that has the bit, just the top end. It's about 50 grams. Do you know what? I set the timer, I forgot to put it on. Right, get that out of there. My hands go that way. Okay, where are we now? So that's all our dry ingredients, wet ingredients. So this uses, sorry, I'm looking at my recipe here. So we've got it measured out. So, and I measure things out before I do a recipe to make sure that I've got all the right amounts, so that I don't get flustered in the middle of a recipe and put the wrong thing out, especially when it's a recipe I've never done before. Make sure you always read the recipe from top to bottom, right the way through, make sure you've got all your ingredients, and if it helps you to put it out into different bowls, do it. So 50 mils of oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, not olive oil because that has a flavour to it. You want something that doesn't have a flavour because the flavour is coming from the cheese and the bacon. And then 125 mils of milk, not skimmed milk. You want something like whole milk or semi-skimmed milk because that's got a bit of fat in it. And then, how many eggs? Just 1 egg. So this again, egg will find it, set it, and give it some lift. And bottom mixing. Handy. Give that a little mix. Don't have to be too much, we're just getting it all together. And then, have I got everything? Yes, I'm straight in. And what I forgot to say is, have your oven on ready. So maybe 10-15 minutes, depending on how long your oven takes to heat up. Put your oven on 200 degrees. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit. You can Google that. And then you want to stir it round. It's really, really simple. You don't want to stir it round too much. You're not beating it. You're just making sure all the mixture is just well mixed. Like a batter, just a really thick batter. There, you can see everything is all incorporated. So, it's about, it's a bit awkward, it's about a good tablespoon in each. My original recipe was for 12, but if I make 12, we'll probably do 12. I didn't think that was a good idea. Should make 6. Got a bit left over. Top up the ones that look a little bit less. You want them all to be the same size, because if they're not all the same size, some will cook faster than the others. And you want them all to cook at the same time. Some chefy people weigh them out, but that's going a step too far. Although I think a little bit more than that. Okay, right. Put them in the middle of your oven at 200 degrees, and you're looking at 20 to 25 minutes. And when they look nice and golden, like that, and when you can put a knife in it, and it comes out, and the knife is clean, that means it's cooked. Yeah, great. God, we're whizzing through this. Right, I'm not going to cook them because we haven't got 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, I'm disappearing for a minute round the corner to get some hot water. It's taking longer than I thought it would.
So I hope you're all enjoying this, and I'm starving. I don't know about you. So do put thumbs up and show your thumbs if you're happy. Brilliant. If you've got any questions, do either directly message us privately, as some of you might have done. But just to reassure you, this recording and the recipes will send to you after today's session as well. So if you're not catching it all, don't worry too much. Okay. Anybody got any questions, just direct message us and we'll help you out. Okay. Thank you, Joe. We're really enjoying this. Are you ready now?
I've had a clean board after every one, so that I'm not, I mean, I could have taken away, but I'm not getting anything mixed up. Not getting raw meat. I didn't have any raw meat, but raw meat mixed up with cooked meat. Chocolate mousse. Right. So I'm going to melt 100 grams of chocolate. I've got chocolate I used to bake, so that is little chocolate drops. But you can get any bar of dark chocolate. You can use milk chocolate, but it will react differently. It will taste a lot sweeter, and this is sweet enough already. So a bar of dark chocolate, not a big one, 100 grams. And some very melted butter. 25 grams of very very soft butter. Doesn't have to be soft. Right. You can melt this in the microwave. If you put it in a container in the microwave and you just put it on 10 seconds at a time until it melts, keep stirring it round. Keep going back to it, don't leave it because it will burn really quickly. You take your eye off it for a second and it will burn, and melted chocolate. Burnt chocolate doesn't smell nice. I don't have a microwave here, so I'm using what we call a bain-marie. So it's a pan of water, hot water, bowl on top of that, and that's going to melt. You wouldn't put it straight into the pan because the heat's too fierce and chocolate doesn't like fierce heat. Just a gentle heat, just to slowly melt it, and then it will incorporate with the butter. Move these out of the way. Eggs. 3 eggs. Now, separating the eggs. This is where it gets messy. Off as well. So, egg whites in here, egg yolks in there. If you do that, move them slowly, the yolks slowly from one shell to another, and the whites will fall out. Or as I usually do.
How many eggs are you putting in this one?
Right. I tend to just do it through my fingers. Just let all the yolk, the whites fall out. And then you can just pull it off. Okay. Some people don't like the way eggs feel. That's fine. It's not up to you. Whatever ways you're happier with. But in this heat, the yolks will be very fragile. So you might not want to do it. You might want to do it backwards and forwards. There we go. Right, I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to check my chocolate. Oh, look at this. Let's turn the heat down. So you can see it's all melting. Lovely. Did I say we were making chocolate? I didn't say that, didn't I? Okay. Don't want it to get too hot. You can see. If you do use a chocolate bar, just chop it up or smash it up, get it into small pieces, because the smaller the pieces, then the quicker it will melt. Yeah, that's almost done. That took like 2 minutes. And you push that. Yeah. Egg whites. Right. Right. This is my very old, very battered, seen better days whisk. You can do this by hand with a hand whisk. It will take a while, but you can do it. It's fun. I've got a chefing stand mixer, a bit on the top of this. If you're using either a balloon whisk or an electric whisk, if you hold a cloth up and you put it on the table and you put your bowl on the cloth, then that will move about much better. Right. What still works? We're going to whisk this up. And we're wanting what they call firm peaks. Emma wants me to put this over my head. Is it going to go? I'm going to whisk it a bit. I'll just touch it.
I have a question. Are you mixing the egg whites and yolks together?
No, sorry. There's the egg yolks in this bowl. Just egg whites. Right. Now we're going to whisk in 2 tablespoons of sugar. Do 1 at a time. You know what I mean about the table, the cloth on the table? It's not moving. So if you want to, you can do that. And get all that mixed in well, and that's the start of a meringue. Okay, just set that to the side. Right. Is your egg whites, and they go in there. Put that in. Stir that up. Now, the heat from the hot chocolate, it's not too hot, but it is hot, that will cook your egg yolks, and you can see that immediately changed the consistency and it started to thicken and set it. So the yolks will thicken it and the egg whites, as you can see, will set it. I'm going to put a bit, tiny pinch of salt in it. Won't make it salty, it will just bring the flavour of the chocolate through. It's seasoning, so it'll make you taste the chocolate more than if you didn't put the salt in it. It's not to make it salty, it's just the seasoning. And then we're going to put 1 spoon in first, because that's quite stiff. And then you can be a little rough with this, because all you're doing is you're getting the egg whites used to the chocolate. Right. And now, it's best to do this with a metal spoon. If you use a wooden spoon, what you'll do is you'll flatten the egg whites, you'll knock all the air out. So you want a metal spoon. I mean, you can use a plastic spatula if it's quite a thin one, but you don't want something chunky which is going to knock the air out. And then we'll put about half in, and then we will fold. So you bring the spoon through and fold it over. And it does take some time, and you do have to be patient, but it's worth it. And you can see you've got a marbled effect. And once the marble effect has gone, that's when you know your chocolate's in. Keep going down to the bottom of the bowl and folding it over. And then when it starts to be, you lose that marble effect. Some more in. There we go. You see, and you're just lifting it over. So anytime you're doing any baking and it says folding, what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep the air in something. So when you make a cake, if you are creaming together your butter, sugar, and then your eggs, again, to give your cake lift, the folding part is really important, because that's what makes your cake light. And we're going to put it in. Tell you what, it's not done badly in this heat. I thought I was going to have an egg disaster. last bit. And you see how it's all the same, nearly all the same colour. Nice and chocolatey. I am going to put them in some glasses. Oh, I dropped my spoon. That wasn't clever, was it?
Louise has asked, how did you become a chef? How did you get into cooking?
I don't get called a chef very often. My husband's a chef, and we took over this place together, and I love puddings more than he does, so I make the puddings. So I don't do very much. Savoury stuff. Although I make bread. I make a lot of bread, and I make the pastry for pies. Every week we have what we call Pie Sunday, and I do all the pastry, and he does all the fillings. I'm going to pour this. I think this is pourable. But my husband, he went to catering college, but he didn't go until he was in his 20s, so he started quite late. But I just love cooking and baking and puddings. This is a bit messy. I'm not a very tidy, organised chef. So if any of you can work out better ways to do a cooking demo, let me know. Okay, so they can go in the fridge, which is there, so I'm going to come round. Okay. So these need a couple of hours, if you can wait that long to set. Oh. Here's one. You can tidy up the, take a damp cloth around the edge and tidy it up, but I didn't do that because, like I said, I'm a messy chef. And there, chocolate mousse. I'm going to eat that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jo.
You're welcome.
Hoping I get to.
There is another one in there.
Oh, nice. Brilliant.
One thing I will do is,
I guess so.
I'm going to cut, this has cooled down the egg roll, so we can cut that now.
This would make a great tea party, wouldn't it?
So the more eggs you use, the more rolls you get. But it's really pretty, and the different types of vegetables or whatever you put in it make it look really attractive. And you can cut it, and you could maybe use whatever sauce. If you just want ketchup with it, or you want some chili sauce with it, just dip away. There you go.